or do you want them to actually have chicken and potatoes?
We're doing a pasta bar, but
a pasta bar, okay.
Yeah. It's going to be great.
So pretty much we need to be looking at our environment and our circumstances, and pretty much what you're saying is evaluating where we are in terms of setting our goals and how realistic it is for us to achieve it.
Yeah.
Ooh,
that's why it's specific.
I know. You know, you look at your life and you be like, oh, I don't like what
and that's
I
what
see.
that's a problem with our goal setting now is we set our goals based on where everybody else is in life. And we fail to look at our own selves.
I think we always compare ourselves to other people.
Well,
which is not I don't think that's a bad thing to do.
No,
but like when you're trying to get to a different point in your life to where you feel like you're doing better, I don't think it's always in the best interest for you to do that.
Yeah. Too, we're in a period of time where we see people's lives like lived out on a 24-hour basis because we have social media, you know, we can watch their streams. And it may not all be, like, true. It may just be, like, them posting a picture or something. But we see a version of them that's able to play in our lives, and we can kind of, like, compare and be like, oh, man, I wish that I was in Alaska right now, not knowing that it took them probably 3 years to get to that trip that they were on.
Mm.
Yeah, which I think that's, like... The thing is, like you said with social media, it's like I see all these people doing all these things, and I'm like, I'm so jealous that they get to do that.
Do y'all think social media is a bad thing when you're trying to set goals?
Not necessarily for me, I don't, because I still think that there's a point where you can look at something and want it and then try to figure out if that's something that you can get or if that's something that you can work towards. Because there's, like, people that I follow, like... oh man, I hope she listens to this one day. Her name is Keto in Court. And she pretty much changed her whole entire like eating lifestyle. And she does Instagram channels. And she talks about like keto. She talks about, you know, different like forms and stuff that you can watch and that you can record how you're doing in your progress. And she's so encouraging. And so for me, it encourages me to keep going with the diet plans, with the things that I'm doing, because I see it and I see somebody else doing it.
I like that. Like you have like an accountability partner, even if it's not in person.
Yeah, even if it's not you guys.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
I feel
I'm always going to support y'all.
Wait,
yes.
Is she saying we're not good accountability partners?
Wow.
Am I offended?
I'm just kidding. Don't be offended.
Oh my God.
Lord. Drama.
Podcast over.
Drama.
Podcast
We're
over.
not friends anymore.
Episode 3, and we're like, ugh, I can't do it anymore.
Yes.
No, but
I don't know. What do you think, Erica? What do you think about the whole social media, and is it detrimental to goal setting?
I wouldn't say detrimental. I do like the fact that you can, like, I feel like I can hold myself accountable by, like, posting stuff about, like, I posted that we're doing the half marathon, and I tagged all of us in it. So that way now the whole world who's on my social media knows we're doing the half marathon. Yeah. So if we decide we are not doing it, I feel like I've just disappointed and lied to all those people that I said I'm doing it. So I think it's good for that. I will say there are times where it could be like discouraging. Like, for instance, like maybe you're saving and saving and saving to go on some awesome trip and your car breaks and you have to...
like me. Yeah, great.
I'm sorry. That was just the first example.
No, I get that.
But your car breaks,
right.
and then you have to put that money towards your car. But then you see all these other people on social media that are going on these trips, so then you get upset about it. So I think sometimes it can be maybe just bad, like mental health wise. Like you get upset, you get discouraged, but I think there's good and bad all the time.
I think one thing that's interesting is that you talked about action items and how they're different than SMART goals.
Yeah. So action items are the specific tasks that we do to get to those goals. Yeah. So they would be like those singular tasks that can usually be done by one individual. So like it's a task that I can specifically do. And it can be, you have to think of it as something that can be checked off of a to-do list. So for instance, we were talking about getting our master's. One of those actions items would be completing the first class. We can check the first class off the list. And action items are just a little different from SMART goals because SMART goals are broad and action items are more specific.
Mm-hmm. So it's like our SMART goals are the short-term things or the long-term things that we want to do, and the action item is this is the next step to get to that long-term goal that I have.
Right. Like you have to break it down, your overall goal, which would be your SMART goal, into smaller pieces and like steps. Like we were talking, like if I want to go on a vacation, the first step maybe would be don't buy that pair of shoes that I want. Put that money in my adventure fund, sort of thing. So, like, think of specific goals.
Is that what you call it, adventure fund?
I love that.
I bought this cute little thing at the Dollar Tree, and it says our adventure fund, and me and Dude are, like, putting our coins in it, and then we'll go on an adventure when it's filled up. Kind of like, you know, the movie Up.
Yeah.
They save for their really adventure.
Cute.
That movie really starts off sad.
Every Disney movie starts sad.
It's Pixar.
Disney, Pixar, same thing. Oh my god,
so.
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
Sponsor us, please.
Please.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, I think one thing that we fail to realize, though, when we set goals, SMART goals, these action items, there are going to be things that are going to stop us.
Yeah.
There are going to be multiple setbacks. So what advice would you give to somebody that's trying to deal with a setback from a goal that they really, really, really want to pursue? And I'll give you an example. Since we're all in grad school, let's say something happens with financial aid. God, please don't let it happen. But please,
Why'd you even speak that into existence?
That really touched my heart.
Grabbing our chest.
We just took a moment of silence.
I'm gonna have to go to Joe's office and be like, "Excuse me, my form didn't go through. I'm not supposed to be paying for classes."
But let's say something happens with financial aid and it sets us back, and we have to sit out for term semester.
Yeah, I mean, it happens.
What advice? Yes, it is. You know, what advice would you give to your own self if it were you? Teresa's laughing.
I'm laughing because I know that I would be, you already know, like, I'm the first one to just drop a tear.
Yes.
I'm the first one to be like, oh, heck no. But yeah, so I think one thing, if I had to tell myself, first I'd give myself a hug. I would just give myself a hug.
Yeah.
You know, tell myself, you know, things happen, it's okay. But I think the next thing I would do is, I'm big on like trying to find every option. So if there is a setback, you know, one big thing is like goals are adjustable. They're not always like, if a setback happens, that doesn't mean that they have to stay stead in place. And I have to finish by 2020. No, I may have to push it back and be like 2021, but I'm going to try to I'm going to financial aid. I'm knocking on all the doors. I'm talking to everybody. I would encourage myself. I'd be like, okay, you can cry right now, but what's the next step? What is the plan that we have? And maybe we have to readjust the plan. And sometimes that doesn't sound nice. It doesn't sound pretty. It's ugly. I want to cry right now thinking about it. It hasn't even happened to me. But being flexible and having to adjust yourself to get where you need to be. And life is full of so many setbacks. But if it's something that you really want and something that you really believe that you can achieve, that's attainable, that's reachable, that's smart, you know, if it's something that you can do, then I need to take action. And I need to set myself up to do those things to get me back to where I need to go.
I 1000% agree.
I don't even feel like I have a comment because that was so good.
That was great.
Like,
pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
I was envisioning I was in a TED Talk and say yes.
I feel like your body just went to, I don't have financial aid. What am I going to do? Yeah. So you just said what you would do.
Yeah, and I agree with that.
Which is the thing, like, obviously obstacles are going to happen.
Yeah.
And you just got to pick yourself back up, and then you have to start from this new point. Like, I spent all my money on fixing my car.
Yeah.
I guess I just got to start saving again.
You are just really hitting me with the car thing, aren't you?
It's just in my brain, and if anybody knows who hit Keelan's car,
I swear,
hit and run,
once I find out,
we're going to
help him.
But one thing I would say is that's super easier said
than done. Yeah, of course.
We always got to remember that. But that doesn't mean that what you said still doesn't ring true.
No, and it's right. And I think it's something that a skill that you acquire as you get older. Like, seeing myself now and how we talked about like housing, how it set us up for goals. Like, that's where I learned how to goal set. That's where I learned how to achieve, you know, the things that I wanted, how to go after the things that I wanted. So seeing myself now and then looking back at the 18-year-old Teresa, there's a drastic difference in the way that we handle. Like 18-year-old Teresa is ready to like flop over. I'm done. I'm sick of this. I don't know what to do. I'm freaking out because I don't know what to do. Yep. To now, as you get older, you learn about how to advocate for yourself, how to push for the things that you want, how to stand up for yourself, how to talk about the things that are really causing an issue in your life. You know? So I think, and it's something that's celebrated even though it's hard.
Yeah. What would you say to your 18-year-old self? Like, I remember when I was graduating high school, they told me to do a 5-year plan. And I'm trying to math in my brain, but when I graduated, I did my 5-year plan, and I would have never put any of this stuff that I'm currently doing, like dream job, coffee shop,
none of it,
getting married, owning a having a podcast. Like that was I don't even think I knew what a podcast was in high school. So the fact that it's crazy to me that our 18-year-old selves have made a 5-year plan and where we are now, which is where I can think your goals change.
Yeah. I'll tell you, when I was 18 years old, I thought I was going to be in San Francisco. I thought I was going to be a photographer. I thought by now I'd be rolling in dough. And I thought that I would be like a missionary, like traveling the world. There's been points where I thought, man, I'm going to live in a hut. That was like my dream for a long time. I don't know if you remember that. I
remember that.
Oh, yeah, we do.
And just be a nobody. But looking at where I am now, I think I would tell my 18-year-old self, don't get so wrapped up in what everybody else wants you to do or thinks you should do.
Yes.
And then be more confident in who you are. You know, I think a lot of times I was constantly looking for, and it's not a bad thing to have like mentors or guidance, but I would get so focused on what I thought somebody else's perspective or what somebody else thought I should be doing, that when there were times that I wanted to do, like I wanted to move to San Francisco and go to school, and somebody was like, don't do it, and like made me feel really bad about wanting to go there, that I completely threw away the opportunity to go, you know? Right. And I'm glad where I am now, though. Like it worked out for the best, but not being so wrapped up in other people's ideas and goals of me, but having my own confidence to do what I think is best for me.
I like that.
I think for me, I feel like I took this advice, even though I'm telling it to myself. I've already taken this advice. Be you, and don't let anybody tell you what to do. Be assertive without being mean, which I have a problem with that sometimes. But
we learned that last week.
But like, for example, like, you know, we talked with the financial aid office, if that was that obstacle, that little setback, you know, my 18-year-old self, I would have been like, okay, and I would have been frantic, and I just would have walked out and something like that. Now, if I had to deal with that, I would have sat down with whoever, and I was like, you need to fix it. I don't care what you do, but fix it. Yeah. And that's exactly.
Or tell me how to fix it.
No, I'm not going to fix it because you messed it up. You need to fix it. And then when I walk out, I better have my financial aid on my account, and I better be able to see it from my phone. That's all. That's exactly.
See,
you
that's
have
good.
to be. Sometimes you have to walk. You have to tell people what's going to happen.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
I hate to say it like that. Does it sound rude? Yeah, it does sound rude, but I don't care.
I feel like you answered your own
question.
question.
But you have to. But also, you have to have the personality for that too. So.
I know, like me, I would be like,
yeah,
I would just stress and cry and wonder how the heck I'm gonna make.
Oh,
this
don't
work.
mean I ain't gonna stress out, but
But Erica, there's points where you're pretty assertive too, though. Like when there's a point that needs to get done, you may be crying, but you're like, oh no, we're gonna get this done.
Yeah.
I have my days.
You start asking technical questions.
Like, how? Why does that work? Like what?
Yeah.
Explain that to me. Yeah.
No.
So let's kind of like talk a little bit then. Like we talked about what we would say. Oh, Erica, what would you say to your 18-year-old self?
I would say that what you originally planned for yourself is probably not going to happen. And that's that's okay. I mean, because I'm trying to think my 18-year-old self. Let's be honest too. My 18-year-old self, I was in a relationship and I thought I was going to marry that person, and then I was just going to be with them, and I didn't really even have a goal